And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans, to our sizzling Memorial Day lineup. And I am so excited to welcome back for the third time best-selling author Hannah Mary McKinnon, here to give us the inside scoop on her brand new red hot book, Never Coming Home. Hannah, welcome back. Tell us about this book.
Third time's a charm.
Woo.
Actually, the first time was a charm, and as was the second, so I'll take that back. Thanks
Yeah,
for having me again on the show.
We have to leave room for a fourth time, Hannah.
Please.
Tell us about this book, you wild woman.
Wild woman. I'll take it. So, Never Coming Home is a suspense story, a thriller, psychological domestic suspense. It's written exclusively from the male antagonist's point of view, shall we say, the villain's point of view. And it's the story of Lucas. Lucas is 32-year-old Brit living in Boston, and he's feeling very, very smug because he's about to inherit a ton of money from his missing and presumed dead wife and his ailing mother-in-law, who's dying of cancer, and he's about to cash in the mother load, as he puts it. Until, well, we find out that he knows that his wife, Michelle, is never coming home because he orchestrated a hit. He found a hitman on the dark web to get rid of her, basically. And so he's now waiting to cash in. But somebody knows what he did. And a cryptic photograph with a cryptic message on the back shows up. And all of a sudden, he goes from hunter to prey.
Woo, tasty. I can't wait to get into every single delicious detail. And we're going to do it, Hannah, like we always do. But first, I just want to welcome everyone who's watching with us. We're streaming live to 6 different destinations, as we always are. So no matter where you're watching, Facebook or YouTube, you're in the right place. This is the right time. It's Mystery Monday. And because Mondays can be murder, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't been here before, here's how it works. Every Monday, I give you my hand-picked featured others, and you get to ask them anything. So ask best-selling author Hannah Mary McKinnon anything you want about Never Coming Home, about the dark web, about this man of mystery, what it was like to write from a villain's perspective. We got a lot to get into, so let's dive in. And Nisa, welcome to the conversation. She says, hello, Sara and Hannah from South Carolina. I loved, capital L, this book. She also says that she loves the cover. Isn't it a fabulous cover, Anissa? And she loved that we were inside the head of the villain. So let's pause there, Hannah. Why did you want to be inside of this scary dude?
I didn't really find him scary. I found him really quite charming. If you discount seriously, if you discount the fact that he had his wife killed and he has other murderous ways, he was actually really fun to hang out with because he had a great sense of humor. But seriously, the idea for the book came to me because I really, really enjoy watching film or TV or reading books where we cheer on the bad person. I find that really interesting how filmmakers, screenwriters and authors can make you cheer for the bad guy. And I wanted to see if I could do that. I thought that was really interesting. Why do we do that? What do they do to us that makes us want to cheer for the bad guy or woman? Could be either. And one movie that comes to mind, a recent Amazon Prime one, was I Care a Lot with Rosamund Pike, which is just brilliant. And she plays this really evil, conniving, cutthroat woman. And she's brilliant. And you're cheering for her. And there's a couple of reasons why. I won't go into them. I don't want to spoil it. But it's just brilliant. And so I thought, okay, I want to see if I can do that. Because when you write from a villain's perspective, you really have two choices, two avenues, distinct avenues. One is that you write them so that the reader really, really loves to hate them. Like Paul in Best Day Ever by Kara Ruda. I hated that guy. And I really, really couldn't wait to get to the end to see his demise. Witness his demise, hopefully. Ramsay Bolton, and anyone who watches Game of Thrones, hated the guy. Wanted them to keep him, though, because I couldn't wait to see how bad his demise would be. So that's one avenue. But the other one to explore is having a character that that the reader actually roots for, that they kind of hate to love, that they want them almost or completely to get away with whatever it is they've done, despite knowing that they shouldn't. And that was the avenue that I chose with Lucas. Although I do know there are some people who love to hate him and some who hate to love him. It depends on how it was received on the reader, of course, but that was the distinct avenue that I picked.
Ooh, that's interesting, Hannah, because so I have not seen those two shows because Game of Thrones is too violent for me. I actually can't do visual violence. It gets on me, and then I'm like creeped out for days or weeks or even years.
Fair enough.
But I did watch Killing Eve, and at one point, my husband and I turned to each other and said, "How is Jodie Comer, who is indisputably a psychopath and an assassin who kills people for a living, why do we like her? Why do we care about her? Why are we cheering for her, even though she is taking lives?" And that is a really fascinating thing to consider. So that I like that these bad guys we love to hate or hate to love is what inspired Lucas. So thank you for that behind the scenes. This is very cool. Oh, hey, Canadian Courtney. So Canadian Courtney is on Instagram at Caffeine Read Repeat. She writes fabulous, funny, heartwarming book reviews. And she says, "This is so exciting. I just love this book and unique plot and point of view. She would like to know, Hannah," and this is your fellow Canadian, "what made you decide to do this from a male point of view instead of a female?" Cool question.
That's a really good question. I love writing male points of view. Love them. In the Neighbors, that was my first suspense book. Had 4 point of view characters. One was a man. The book after that, Her Secret Son, was entirely from a man's perspective. A good guy this time, Josh. He was a good guy, and I just love the male perspective. Maybe it's because I have 3 sons and a husband. I'm surrounded by men. And have been for the last 18 years. I've worked with a lot of men. I observe men and women equally, I guess, but this story just seemed to fit. And I remember thinking about the story, and the characters for me, don't show up fully formed. They take a bit of work, that you have to sketch them out, and I interview them, meaning I fill in a questionnaire and get inside their heads. But Lucas was different. He basically strolled up to me in my head and he said, "Go on, tell my story. Go on, you want to." And he was so funny and wry and sarcastic. And I said earlier, he was fun to hang out with. He really was. And I thought it was just, the story could be written from a man's perspective or a woman. You could make the evil person a man or a woman. But I think it was just Lucas just spoke to me, as weird as that sounds. And that was it. I needed to tell a story.
As weird and fascinating as that sounds. So I liked hearing Lucas in your Hannah voice. Is that what you think he sounded like, Hannah? Does he have a British accent?
Oh yeah, he's a Brit, 100%. And actually, I just listened to the audio. I got the audio file last week, and I have a male narrator, Alex Wyndham, who's also an actor. He was in Yellow Jackets, if anyone is familiar with Yellow Jackets.
Oh, I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah. So he plays the detective Kevin in the present storyline in Yellow Jackets, but he also does voiceover work. And he read Nate in The Neighbors and Josh, the entirety of Her Secret Son, and The Man from the Beach and You Will Remember Me, and all of Never Coming Home. And he is so gosh dang perfect. That's just how Lucas sounds, very wry and witty and funny. And yeah, definitely a British accent, because he's from the UK, meets his wife at an art gallery in London, and then moves over to Boston to marry her for her money, essentially.
I knew that, but I think because my voice has an American accent, and sometimes I read a page out loud, and so I for some reason, and I hadn't listened to the audiobook, so for some reason I just wasn't, until I heard you say it, I was like, duh, of course he has a British accent. Susie says, hi, Hannah and Sarah from Seattle. Susie, welcome to the
Hi,
conversation.
Susie.
Sarah says, I have goosebumps.
Oh, sorry about that. Or maybe it's a good thing.
Too. The Sarahs are goosebumping. Andrea, welcome to the conversation. She says, that sounds fabulous. And hello from Dallas. Andrea, welcome to the conversation. So if you're watching from a private Facebook group tonight, you will show up very mysteriously, very on brand for a mystery and thriller Raven interview. So you can enable permissions or you can stay mysterious. So we have a mysterious friend joining us saying, hi, I loved the book. Yay, we're so glad that we did. Melissa Watson, welcome to the conversation, joining us live from Australia, saying good day. Hello. Hi, Sarah and Hannah Mary. Now I feel like I should just do accents. Welcome to the conversation. So, yay. Welcome to the conversation. Another mystery user, Anissa, saying, I listened to it on audio and it was fabulous.
No, brilliant.
Sarah's clarifying they're good goosebumps, Hannah. So Hannah, this book is earning so, oh my goodness, we have another mystery. You're saying hi from Florida, no accent here, right? I also didn't hear the accents. Fascinating conversation here. So Hannah, this book is racking up all the praise. Congratulations. Heather Gudenkauf raving a highly entertaining, bone-chilling must read. Hannah, Heather has been on the show twice. High praise from New York Times bestselling author Heather there. Let's talk about how, Hannah, this many books into your career, what have you learned about the secret of writing bone-chilling books?
Well, I think what I've learned is that readers are really, really smart. Readers are really smart. And you've got to work really hard to try and fool them. I don't mean fool them in a bad way, but to be able to muddy the waters a little bit so they don't really see what you're doing, practicing sleight of hand or misdirection or red herrings or whatever it is, which is lots of fun, actually, trying to do that, reading through my work and thinking, hang on a minute, are they going to figure out what I'm doing here? Have I done enough to cover my tracks? So it's just been a fantastic experience. You know, I love developing my characters and developing my storylines. And it's funny, I talk about this a lot because this is my second career. I was in corporate before, in IT recruitment, like Lucas. Not as cutthroat as Lucas, though, that's for sure. But writing just brings me such joy. You know, not always. It's not always easy. You know, the first draft that I write is always a bit painful and laden with cookies, too many of them probably. But it's afterwards, the editing process, when it starts flowing and I start seeing that I'm actually making something that I feel that I could be happy with, and then keep going and working with my editor. It's the best feeling in the world. I just want to entertain people. You know, I just want to provide books that people read, and for the most part, because it's impossible to please everyone, but for the most part, to have people say, that was time well spent. I like that. That was fun. That's my aim.
Oh, I love that, Hannah. I love that you're thinking of your reader and
all the time.
Thinking of their time, their money, invested in you, and thinking of how you can serve them. Oh my goodness, we have Oline Cogdell in the audience. Oh my gosh,
I saw Oline's wonderful review of Never Coming Home, and I'm not a waterworks person, but there might have been a tear or three. I was so happy.
Oh my gosh. So for those who don't know, Oline Cogdell is an amazing book reviewer. So she writes fabulous book reviews for the Sun Sentinel newspaper and for Shelf Awareness and for many other places. And she is sharing her review of Hannah Mary McKinnon's Never Coming Home right here. So I'm going going to drop the link for everyone because I just love how Aline reviews books and how her brain works and what she latches onto. So everybody check out, I'm going to pop it right here. Check out Aline's review right here because you will enjoy it, and be sure to follow her on Facebook and Twitter. She's so great. So here's the link. Aline, thank you so much for joining us. And Aline jumped on. I hosted her in January. She gave us her top picks, and she's coming back to pick her top picks for the rest of the year. Trust me, you don't want to miss that. We have another mystery user saying they cannot wait to read it. Thank you so much for joining us. Susie saying, I love your brilliant books, Hannah.
Thank you.
Yay! Thank you for joining the conversation, for those kind words. Sara White fangirling saying, Aline Coggo, yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness, Christina Cook in the house, founder of Bitchy Bookworms, the biggest, best, most passionate, engaged book group on Facebook with over 115,000 members.
Wow.
She's amazing. She's a really dear friend of mine. She says, hi from Nashville. I'm so happy to have caught this. I don't want your picture is showing up, Christina. Oh, she was our mystery user. So she said she's one of our mystery users. She said she is so excited for this book. So Christina is an amazing reader and reviewer. Christina, let us know if you have any questions for Hannah at all. And Nisa, good question. She would like to know, do you have a different writing process for your thrillers than the Christmas book you are currently working on? Wait, there's a Christmas book? What's going on?
There is a Christmas book. I know. So we went public a few weeks ago. I'm writing a holiday rom-com that will publish in October, I don't know, fall 2023, a date to be finalized. And it's going to be under a pseudonym. It's under the pseudonym Holly Cassidy. So Holly, because it's Christmas, Cassidy, because it means curly headed, and HC because it's Happy Christmas, right? So
what language does Cassidy mean curly in?
Oh, if you look at the definition of it's kind of an Irish background name, I guess, and it means curly headed, which just made me laugh because I am. And so, yes, there's a Christmas book in the works for 2023, as well as a thriller for 2023. So it'll be a double whammy next year. And do I have a different process? Yeah, I don't kill people. Otherwise, honestly, the process is the same. I come up with the beginning and end, and I plot extensively, and I interview my characters, as weird as that sounds, and then I start writing. So no, the process is the same. I just had to remind myself when there was an avalanche. That's not a spoiler alert. There's an avalanche in the book. Don't kill anyone. Don't die.
Are you just like Dexter, like must not kill today? Not kill today.
But I fear that my next thriller, so not the one for 2023 because that one's done, but the one for 2024 might go really dark because I've just done a nice Christmas book, so it might be really bad in the next one.
Yeah, Hannah's daily affirmation is must not kill today. But then
fictional people.
But then she's getting tense. She's got to let that steam out somehow. So she's just gonna go back to her murderous ways, and we love it.
It's true.
Melissa Watson saying, yes, we readers are smart. And I loved hearing you say that you have to work hard to impress us or throw in some really hairy curveballs.
Yeah.
Because that's always a balance, right? Because when you read these, I have a lot of friends in the Bookstagram community. I always read these reviews, and actually, Christina Cook's partner in crime, her best friend and her twin flame, Marcy Ann Kegels, is also the other half of the other founder of Bitchy Bookworms. She's an amazing reader too, and she'll often say, "I guessed the plot I guessed the twist from page 4 or something." And I'm always interested to see. I never see it coming. I don't know if I live under a rock or what, but I'm always wondering how you don't want people to be like, oh, I knew it was the butler on page 3, but you don't want them to get to page 300 and say there was a butler.
Right. Exactly. Yeah,
so
you're exactly right. It has to be a really fine balance because you don't you don't want to telegraph stuff right from the beginning, and people
No.
who are used to reading thrillers will pick up on things. I mean,
Right.
there's nothing you can do with, there's no way you can hide everything. But equally, you don't want people to be blindsided either. Oh, that came out of nowhere. And
Right.
don't we like it sometimes when we guess things, and then we get
Yeah.
there and we go, yeah, I knew that was going to
Yeah.
happen. And it
Feeling
is a
myself.
balance. It is a balance. But I tell
Yeah.
you, those people who always say they saw every twist coming, can they please come and plot my books with me, please?
Yeah, so exactly. So I plan to run mine past Marcy and Christina, because if I can get it past those ladies,
Good
nothing
plan.
gets past those ladies.
Good plan.
I am loving this. Anissa saying, "I don't kill people. You are making her laugh out loud." This is, I'm laughing more than I'm getting a little ab workout. I'm laughing so hard, so that's good. Sarah White saying, "This is writer humor." Amen. Anissa saying, "Thank you for caring about your readers. It makes
Oh,
me
of
love
course.
you and your books even more." So, Hannah, let me ask you this though: when you're sitting there, because I know as a writer, I'm so self-conscious and I'm always like, please like me, please like my books, but you want to care about them, but you also want to maintain integrity to the story, authentic,
Yes.
loyalty to the characters. So how do you balance that, where you want to please the readers, you want to serve the readers, but you have to maintain, stay true to Lucas or
Right.
whoever?
So I mean, I'm old enough and long in the tooth enough to know that I can't please everyone, and nor should I try, because if I do try and please everyone, I'm going to end up with something with one big hot mess, or something that I don't necessarily like, So there's also a part of the story has to speak to me too. I have to enjoy what I'm writing. If I'm not enjoying what I'm writing, I'm pretty sure the readers are going to pick up on that and say, "Oh, she just phoned it in," which I really, really don't want. And the way I balance it, the way I see it is, I don't like every book I read. I wish I did, but I don't. I don't like every piece of music I hear or movie I watch. And it would be wildly, wildly unrealistic, not to mention big-headed of me, to expect every single person who reads my work to fall over because they're so much in love with it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's never going to happen. So I have to make that balance of, am I happy with what I've done? Am I enjoying what I'm writing? Do I think the majority of people will like this? Am I taking a bit of a gamble, which I have done in the past? I'm not known for my tender endings. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with my endings not being, say, Sister Dear or You Will Remember Me, or even Never Coming Home. They're not all neatly wrapped up nicely with a bow where the good person always wins and everything works out fine. Because for me, one of the endings that talking about endings, the one that really struck me the most, that has stayed with me the longest, and I know thriller authors always reference this book, but there's a reason for that, is the one in Gone Girl. Because I still wonder about Amy and Nick Dunn. I still wonder what happened to them. What happened to them?
Oh, like, are they still married? Have they killed each other? Are they
Where's
still
the
having
kid?
another affair?
Spoiler. Yeah, I mean, what has happened to that couple? And those are the kind of endings that I like, the ones that really, really linger. So that's what I try and provide my readers with. And I know some, and You Will Remember Me, they'll get to the end and they'll go, that's not fair. I don't like that ending. But I hope that they're still thinking about it. so it's a balance. It's a balance. But yes, I definitely think about my readers, and I'm more conscious of certain things. In The Neighbours, there's probably a lot more sex and swearing than in any of my other books. So I've toned that down a little bit. Just because, it's not, and they're fine whether it's in there or not. It works. I think, I hope. So yes, I consider the reader an awful lot.
It's interesting, when Kate White came on, author of The Fiancé and upcoming this summer in June, The Second Husband. So Kate used to work as the editor-in-chief of Cosmo. So girl knows her way around a sex scene. If anybody knows how to write a sizzling sex scene, it's got to be Kate White. And she was saying that when she started writing thrillers, she had a lot of sizzling, spicy sex scenes in those books. And she was reading her reviews, and she kept reading that people were saying, I skimmed past the sex, I skimmed past the sex. And that she realized that thriller readers don't actually care about or care for sex scenes. So she started taking it out, which I thought was absolutely fascinating.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Right.
I don't know if I ever read a review. I think maybe I read one or two, because I tend to now. I used to read all of my reviews, every single one, every single one, and I don't do that anymore. To be honest, I tend to read the good ones, but the bad ones. I have broad shoulders, but if I want to go looking for them, once a book has been out for a while, I will, but certainly not at the beginning, because you're just in the middle of the book coming out, and nobody likes being told their kids are ugly, you know?
Oh, Jesus, no. Oh my God. Aline is saying, I also sometimes wonder about characters after the books. And thank you for thinking of the reader. That used to be the concern of newspapers. Oh, that's fascinating, Aline. Thank you for that insight. What a really interesting perspective. Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that. Hannah, let's get back to some of these other sizzling reviews. Lisa Unger raves, don't miss this propulsive, hypnotic thrill ride. Congratulations on that rave. PJ Vernian, and also chiming in, PJ saying, a diabolical tour de force. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But you're saying you don't think Lucas is diabolical. You find him charming.
No, he's pretty diabolical. I mean, he had his wife murdered, so he's not going to win a Best Husband of the Year award.
No, he's not. No, he's not. We're not going to count on him for flowers on Mother's Day. That's not going to happen. Oh my gosh. Okay, we have 2 minutes left, everybody. If you have any questions, I bet we can take at least 2 more questions. So if you have any more questions for Hannah, get them going in the comments. Meanwhile, I'm going to while your little fingers fly over the keys, Samantha Downing, who's also been on the show, raving Hannah Mary McKinnon is the queen of dark thrillers. So Hannah, you have been anointed by the queen of dark thrillers herself as the queen of dark thrillers. And she says, Never Coming Home captivates, horrifies, and it will make you laugh. Impossible to stop reading until you get to the final page. So I definitely laughed a few times, and I love to laugh. I mean, clearly we're having fun here. It's good to laugh, but it's actually really hard to write humor on the page. So what do you think is the secret to being funny?
Well, for me, the sense of humor, Lucas's sense of humor is very much mine. So I think maybe that is the secret. Maybe the secret is that I know not everyone appreciates my sense of humor. So let me put that out there straight away. Not everyone will find Lucas funny. I did, because his sense of humor is essentially mine. Okay. But I think that if you want to inject humor, it has to make you laugh. That, I think, as you're writing it, so as I was writing it, I was laughing, and I thought, okay, hopefully, fingers crossed, other people will find him funny too. And it was very deliberate. It was very, very deliberate on my part to make him so wry and witty. I hope people will find him wry and witty, but it was very deliberate, because spending an entire book in the villain's head can be really taxing. It can be a really, really dark place to be. Let's go into the head of a dude who's had his wife murdered.
Yeah.
Do we really want to spend 300 pages in that man's brain? Ooh. Well, if he's funny and you show a different side of him, then maybe yes. So I was very conscious of the reader, again, thinking, okay, how am I going to make sure that the reader sticks with me and with Lucas? What can I do to make them want to go along for the ride? Oh, interesting. So it was a very, you didn't just throw it in to because you like to laugh or because he happened to be funny. That was a deliberate ploy to make it bearable and tenable for us to be, fascinating. And for me. And for you. Yeah, so to deploy it. Spend that much time in his head. Yeah, definitely. Oh, interesting. I love that. I love that.
So I just have to share oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, Anissa, she says, I really like the introduction of the dog. It made Lucas seem a little bit more likable. Hannah, was this
Agreed.
another deliberate tactic to humanize?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. I mean, it shows a different side of his character. It shows that he isn't just an emotionless robot after his wife's money.
Yeah. Because anytime there's an animal, I'm always literally terrified that the author could, that something bad could happen to the animal. I would rather something bad happen to a person than an animal. I can't do violence against animals.
No fictional dogs or other animals were hurt in the making of Never Coming Home.
Okay, good. Okay, yes, I need that. I need that disclaimer. Oh my goodness. Susie saying thank you so much for the fabulous, for the great conversation. Susie, thank you so much for joining us, for spending this sizzling Memorial Day evening with us.
Yes.
I just really quickly have to share JT Ellison because I love JT Ellison. I have to share her wonderful words of praise, and I'm just going to pull it up right here. And Hannah's partner in crime, Hank Philippi Ryan, who raved that there is no crime writer more wickedly diabolical than the brilliantly clever Hannah Mary McKinnon. Never Coming Home, risky and dark and absolutely unique, made me hide under the covers and then laugh out loud. So those wonderful words coming from Hank Philippi Ryan. Oh, thanks for the hearts up and the thumbs up, you guys, on Facebook. I had to share that from Hank and also from oh my goodness, I've popped all of them in here so everyone can peruse them. But JT Ellison also raving about this book. So everybody check out all of these reviews. I've popped them all in there so you can peruse them myself. I know I love to read reviews. And then don't forget to order the book. So this book has been out for 6 days.
Brand new. Yes.
Brand
and
new.
Speaking about Hank Philippi Ryan, did you know that readers might spot this when they read it? Hank has a cameo in the book.
So for all those Hank fans, and there are so many of Queen Hank because she's so wonderful and so amazing, keep reading for the cameo. We all love a cameo. And then be sure to order the book. So here is the link. Grab your copy so that you can immerse yourself in this slick and diabolical, according to Jennifer Hillier, the world of Lucas, the mind of Lucas. So here is the here is the order link. Anissa saying Queen Hank, she loved the cameo. Yes, such a great moment. Anissa, thank you so much for joining us as always. All right, y'all, that we are over our time. Thank you so much for spending your Memorial Day weekend with us. Hannah Mary McKinnon back for a third time. Thank you so much for coming on to give us the inside scoop about Never Coming Home. Congratulations, Hannah. Can't wait to read. And y'all, that is a wrap. I will see you next Monday for #Mystery Monday, because Mondays can be murder. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sara.